What's up, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Physical Media, the weekly show where you guessed it, we talk about all the news in the world of physical media, and we're doing it live like we do every single Tuesday. So I want to say what's up, guys. Everyone who's already here, thanks for being here. We got already Illumino Pro here, getting your physical media on. I've been on a used DVD kick, LOL, low cost. I got you, man. Actually, if you can see right there, I got a bunch of DVDs right behind me. So I was organizing. Those were actually a gift from my coworker at my regular Joe job. Gave me a whole bin of DVDs. Went through them, picked the ones I wanted to keep. Not too sure what I'm going to do with those, actually, because I don't really have the space, as you can see. I'm actually getting a little bit worried about this wall right here. It's getting a little bit filled up. So I'm getting concerned because I don't really have the space for more. I'm going to have to put like a rack underneath the window here, really just to cram it in. I can't have one of those collections. I wish that was about 4,600 4K Blu-rays and DVDs and VHSs, but unfortunately I don't have the funds right now for that. But hey, maybe one day. Just let me know if there's any audio issues or anything, guys. Just actually still kind of setting up a little bit. Came in a little late. I got off of my regular job a little later than I usually plan to on Wednesday nights. So I had to make sure I got everything together, got all the new news together, and everything like that. The walls are closing in, John, but we must go deeper. I'm gonna have to get an extension on the house or something. I don't really know what to do. I do want one of those collections that you can walk up and down the aisles like it's Blockbuster, but unfortunately, the wife would kill me, and she's in charge. Favorite commentary for a comedy? Ooh, I got to think on that one. Stacy, welcome, by the way. Good evening. Yet another YouTube gives me no notifications. Yeah, that's YouTube for you. I'm not, I don't understand that. You'll get a notification for this going 30 minutes live in about 3 days. They'll be like, oh, it starts in 30 minutes. But thanks for keeping hello. Now might be time to get some new Blu-rays since we're appearing big sales month, November. Oh my God. Yeah, this month is going to be a big one, a doozy. There's the Criterion Collection 50% off Barnes & Noble sale that should be starting on November 1st. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Got my list ready to go. Got to pull some money out of the checking account and move it to the other checking account so I can buy some 4Ks, hoping to get Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, that's the plan. Great question. Yeah, best commentary track for a comedy. I really got to think about that. What comedy movie should be in a 3-pack together? I just saw my wife watching Blue Streak out there, so we put Blue Streak in there, do like a Martin Lawrence comedy pack, like that. Big Mama's House, and what was that one that he did where he was Knight's Tale? Was that? It's not Knight's Tale, something Black Knight maybe. I don't remember what the hell it was called. I know it's not Night at the Museum. I don't remember what it was called, but he did a movie where he got sent back in time in the 1990s. Can't remember the name. If you guys know, let me know. I just remember the trailer really for the Festival of Samhain. I can't pronounce the name. Let's see. Knocked Up, Superbad, Pineapple Express. Oh, that's great. The Judd Apatow collection 3-pack. That would be an awesome 3-pack of comedies. I love it. Have you seen many Mike Leigh films? I've seen a couple. I can't even really name a bunch off the top of my head. Has a really good Funny People's a good movie. Very underrated too. Just came out at a weird time. I didn't watch a review for Altered States yet, but is it a thumbs up or thumbs down? So yeah, for the 50% off sale, that's the best time to buy Altered States, buddy, because you get a great visual upgrade. It looks beautiful, but the extras leave a lot to be desired, and the audio track isn't as good as you would hope for that. It just doesn't add up, but the visuals are stunning. So it's perfect for the 50% off sale. I just would never buy that at full price. I mean, I can't say I would never because I did, but I mean, you shouldn't. Rushmore's commentary trick is good. Ooh, Electric Stella one. Rushmore is one of my all-time favorite films, and it's actually getting into Rushmore season. It always feels like a fall kind of movie, doesn't it? To me, it does. Commentary for taking care of business when informative. J.J. Abrams wrote that movie. Did not know that, actually. And I think I need to get some stuff from the Shout Studio Scream Factory line since I keep seeing new discounts. Yeah, which, this is a news show. I guess we can get into the Shout Factory stuff because if you guys watched me and Frank, we did a live show over on his channel on Monday. And we were talking about, we talked about it here on this show last week about Scream and Shout Factory, what's going on. Were they going out of business? Because you see those deep discounts all over the place, still on Amazon where you can, things are getting up to 60 to 70% off, Frank was saying. So But there's nothing really. It's just like it's part of the merger that's going on over there. So now it's kind of taken into effect. And I'm gonna get a little worried about certain things because I have a pre-order through Shout's actual website for The Killer and for Hard Boiled. And usually that would ship by now because it's supposed to come out a week from yesterday. So usually it would have shipped by now. But I heard from other people um that I think maybe it was Orbit DVD, one of the other studios. Somebody emailed me yesterday, and off the top of my head, but said that they didn't receive enough to fulfill the pre-order. So I'm wondering if there's an issue going on over there. Like, just that's pure speculation. Right now, all they're saying is that just because of the merger, there's some layoffs, and it's just like a change in business. So nothing, but the problem is nothing has officially come out from Shout yet. It's just been drips and drabs to other places like the Wrap or Variety, those kinds of sources, which are reliable sources. But to hear nothing from Shout gets a little concerning. So I don't know if anyone else has had any notifications about their hard-boiled shipping yet, but that's supposed to come out pretty soon. And I, for one, am really excited about it. So hopefully we get an update on that. Feels like I'm back in high school. They captured the 90s perfectly. Election is a great movie. I love that movie. Hello, John. Hello, chat. What's up, Ben Rondo, channel producer? Glad you can pop in here, buddy. It's a great watch. The Cable Guy, I'm sure that has a great one. Just a great dark comedy as well. Very underrated film. Just kind of came out like I guess they were expecting something a little lighter from Jim Carrey at the time, but I think if we look back now, The Cable Guy was one of those films that it's a really funny one from the 1990s. Yeah, it's a little bit dark. I've actually I've told you guys in the past, I've met people like that who can get really clingy, and I like the Matthew Broderick character. You just try to get away, and eventually you got to cut him off because that's just too much. And I'm not the kind of person like that anyway to let somebody in like that. But my God, he got caught, and he got caught hard. Groove currently had the 2 for $24 sale. Not much new there, but good for anyone. Cutting out. Hard to beat $12 for a movie. Yeah, especially for a 4K. $12 is not bad. Good evening, John Doe Juggalo. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man? Glad you could pop in here. Oh, what'd you say, Stacey? Can you and Shamrock do an episode on The Fugitive, or has that one occurred already? No, we haven't done one on The Fugitive yet. I would love for me and David to do one on The Fugitive. That's actually my favorite Harrison Ford film. I put that above Han Solo, Indiana Jones. I think him as Dr. Richard Kimball is his best performance. There's a lot of nuance in that performance. Actually, very emotional character. And the film in general, I mean, Sam Gerard, played by Tommy Lee Jones, won him an Academy Award. I love that movie. That's something that like floats with my top 25 all time. The Fugitive. I even like the sequel to U.S. Marshals. There's a video on the channel actually, Stacey, of me reviewing U.S. Marshals and The Fugitive, just talking about the movies. I think I did it like in the first 3 months of the channel, so I'm sure the video is absolutely atrocious. But if you want to get my like thoughts on it, it's on here somewhere. Don't know where, just it's on here somewhere. Howdy, late to the party. What's up, Mark's Movie Menu? Glad you can pop in, buddy. William Driver, what's up, John and Jad? How's everyone doing? I'm doing all right, buddy. Hope you're doing as good as well. Stacy, what's going on? I got asked today if I was a film concierge because someone in my real life learned I talked about films on YouTube. Well, I would say that you are. You're definitely a film expert, Jeff, and yeah, because you talk about that on YouTube, you're in the upper echelon of film knowledge. I'm sure you've been out in the world, and a lot of people just really go out and see the real mainstream ones. Like Superman was a big one for a lot of people that you really couldn't get out in theaters all the time, but I personally thought Superman was fine, but that's the ones that people are going to want to talk about. And surprisingly, I'm not a big anime fan, but I know that anime is really on the rise. It's something that can't get overlooked anymore. Like Chainsaw Man, something I never heard of. You would think that that was something in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, but now Chainsaw Man, that was #1 at the box office this past weekend. An anime film, and I think it's a recent anime too that came out in the last couple of years. And that was #1 at the box office, beating movies like Springsteen, which is obviously an Oscar baity film that I was going to go see, but I just heard like it wasn't that good. And I was like, I don't really have the time as it is. But that's kind of been like the theme of this year. Like the movies that are getting hyped, like the Oscar baity films, have kind of been like letdowns. And the movies making money, like Demon Slayer, I think, was another anime film that was #1 at the box office. Like times they are changing, like they said in Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, because I mean, I think the younger generations, that's what they're into. I think anime is the new, anime, like television, video games, the future of storytelling, I would have to say. And I don't know. I'm not a real big anime guy. Like I love like the older movies like Ghost in the Shell. Akira is a great one. Perfect Blue, but I've never been like my buddy Zach. I don't know if he's watching. I'm sure he even offered to pay me to watch Attack on Titan, and I tried. I watched the first season, and it was good. I can't get attached to television as much anymore. I'm trying to rewatch Stranger Things, but I'm like fully committed to movies at the moment, so it's harder for me to get into it. But anime, it's really popular right now. And obviously, it's making a lot of money because of that. So it's surprising as hell. Mr. Smelly Potato, what's up, buddy? Glad you can pop in here. Our channel bankroll member, really, truly keeping the lights on. Heavyweights has like 90 minutes of deleted scenes. Awesome. See, that's the perfect kind of release to have all those deleted scenes. Kind of like, unfortunately, the 4K is not really good, but planes, trains, and automobiles, like to include all those deleted scenes so you can actually understand the storyline that's going on with the mother, Steve Martin's wife. Why does she seem like she's in a different movie? That's because her entire arc of her character is completely cut from the movie. So everything that her character is going through, we have no idea. It just seems like a very needy kind of woman. And unfortunately, just because of the way they cut the movie, it had really nothing to do with that. But you can see why that happened now, which I love about that. Who owns the rights to heavyweights? I would love to upgrade. Lunch has been canceled. That's my favorite. Lunch has been canceled due to lack of hustle. Ben Stiller, by the way. I will probably do a review here on the channel next week with that and like Beguiled. The new Stiller and what's her name? I always pronounce her last name, but Jerry Stiller, his wife. This was directed by Ben Stiller, their son. That new documentary that's on Apple TV, I could highly recommend that. Ben Stiller. It's funny. I'm sure people around my age didn't really knew about Ben Stiller's parents after the fact. They probably found Ben Stiller first and then found out that, oh shit, Jerry Stiller from King of Queens, like that's his dad. I'm sure a lot of us, but for a lot of people, they were like, Ben Stiller is the son of these people. So it's funny how different generations can come to different people. And I think that's funny that for them, you can really see it when you watch that documentary. I thought it was great. I think what's great about anime is how the art form is getting bigger in the States, thanks to streaming, which did help in box office successes with the Demon Slayer and Chainsaw Man movies. Yes, and that's the other thing. And Crunchyroll, that's something that they started to include, like with HBO Max, kind of similar to like TCM and the Criterion Collection. I've since cut HBO Max just because I think they're fucking greedy, and they keep continuously raising the prices over there, and all of them are doing that, and some got the axe. Paramount, that's one that got the axe. I don't have them anymore. Peacock, don't have them anymore. So really, I'm just sticking with Netflix. And Netflix, they have a product that I still need to watch. Same thing with like Apple TV and Prime. I would like to cancel Prime, but it just included with Prime, so you got to kind of keep it. But anime, just being like that's something that's very popular. You're right. It's a lot of it has to do with streaming, and I think I just remember being in my last job, a guy watching like Dragon Ball Z in Japanese because the English version, the dub version, wouldn't be out for I think like another like 6 months or something. But that's how popular anime has gotten here in the United States. And you love to see it because that's an art form that deserves a lot of respect. I just think that at my age now, I don't know if it's something I can get back into. It like the films are a lot easier to get into than the entire television series. There's just so much there, like One Piece. I know you just said you're not into TV as much anymore, but you got to be excited about Scrubs coming back, right? Oh, I am 100% excited about that. Scrubs is one of my all-time favorite shows. When I watched that show at Faith, because I showed the show when we started dating, I've seen every episode so many times. It's actually disgusting. I can quote it from the other room. Like I can hear it and I'll be able to say the next lines while like I'm cooking something, because I used to back in the day with like, when it was just still TiVo, I used to, TiVo all the reruns of Scrubs, because Scrubs used to come on after Friends, and I used to be excited more about Scrubs, and I loved it. I mean, Zach Braff, John C. McKinley, what's his name? Everybody on that show is great. Judy Reyes, and I loved it. I think it still holds up so well to this very day. That's like a comfort food kind of show for me because I've seen it so much. But I am so excited. I'm excited for Stranger Things too. It's just hard to keep up with everything. John, if I could recommend one movie in the Criterion sale, it would be Pick a Pat's Pat. Oh, okay. I know you're talking about Pat Barrett and the Kid. Watch the preview cut first because of the best. Okay, definitely. I've heard great things about this 4K as well. That maybe I will grab that in the sale. Then 100%. Since you recommended, I got a couple things I have to grab in the Criterion sale coming up. I wanted to complete my Scorsese collection, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll have the funds for it. But I've been waiting. This is one of the best sales of the year. We get 2 of them a year, but this one I'm very excited about. Disney has heavyweights, LOL. Oh, like, so that's gonna be a tough one to get out on 4K, but that's a 90s kids favorite. I do like companies like Crunchyroll and G Kids are making anime films more accessible in theaters. Yeah, and it should be like that because just because it's not a United States produced art form, the fact that people are able to watch it now. I mean, things shouldn't be so region locked. It's something actually you're going to get into a little bit with the show. I guess we can kind of talk about it like right now. But that's something that should be accessible. I was somebody who grew up in the 1990s. My introduction to anime was before school as a kid, watching Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon in the late 1990s. Like I collected Pokemon cards like at the beginning, 98, 99. Then I was out. That stuff is still going to this very day. So that was like my introduction. That's kind of like, I feel like a lot of people, Dragon Ball Z was a big one for a lot of people at the time. But now people are watching a ton of anime because of things like Crunchyroll, and it's really popular. Like I'm telling you, my buddy Zach, he can give you a full rundown of some, and he's in love with these shows. He'll tell you which versions to watch in Japanese or like whatever language they originally formed in, or watch it with the dubs. Because I've seen the dubs for Akira, and that is not very good. But Studio Ghibli films usually have very good English dubs. So it really, as always, depends on who's producing these. Heavyweights at Disney, a very pricey route. Of course, it's pricey. It's freaking Disney. They'll kill you. Even they'll get you going each way. Are you partaking in the Criterion sale? 100%. This is one where I'll get the money kind of deal. I'll come up with the money because it's the Criterion sale, and those 4Ks, they get really, really pricey. And there's certain ones that I've missed out on. It's like I still haven't gotten The Irishman. I really want to get that one, but for me, Eyes Wide Shut is number one. I have to make sure I get it in there and get that pre-order in for Eyes Wide Shut, because if I don't get it in on that, I'll have to get it through Amazon, and I really don't want to go that route because they're Amazon. But hopefully I can get that in there. And then what else do I really need to get? I would like to get High and Low, because that's another one that I wasn't able to grab when it came out earlier this year. Just some like The Last Temptation of Christ, a couple of things in there that I want to like clean up some of the stacks for. I want to clean up some of the stacks for Martin Scorsese. I want to get all of his films eventually. So, I got to do that. I want to get some Robert Altman ones. I got to get some, plenty of other directors. Like the Wes Anderson collection was something that really originally piqued my interest, but there's just no way I can come up with that much money to get that 4K collection. So it'll have to sit on the back burner, but I'm definitely kicking around maybe getting just Isle of Dogs and the French Dispatch, just because I don't have them at all in my collection. I have the other ones on Blu-ray, and I also still don't have the Venetian Scheme, and I'm like on the fence about that one as well. I really like Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man, really, I'm glad you got to see that, Mr. Smelly Potato. I appreciate you letting me know. Is it something like I would get into, even though I haven't seen like my buddy said I would still like the movie, even though I haven't seen the series. He said it was one of the most beautiful things he saw. So I got to kind of take his word on that. Is it something I can get into? It's just somebody who's really into like just like Ghost in the Shell. Like I never watched any. I know that's like an original film, so then it got a series and a sequel and an American remake. But like, was that something like I could get into, even though I haven't seen it? I don't pay for any streaming service, physical media, and YouTube only. LOL. You know what's funny? As somebody who's on YouTube, I do not pay for YouTube Premium. I kind of think that YouTube should give that to like their, they consider us partners. Once you consider us a partner of YouTube, you're not going to let your partners have YouTube Premium for free. You're going to still charge us as if you pay us so much. So as my stance against all these corporations, I will not pay for YouTube Premium, but I'll continue to pay for Apple, of course, like a typical hypocrite, right? I am. I sat at the last two sales. I'm going to have you this time. LOL. Barnes and Noble points. Oh, I'm definitely good. This is one I wait all year for. It's usually the November one. The summer one, I'm usually like, I'm a little bit broke, but I got to shell out the money for especially since I do like a top 10 best 4Ks of 2025. So I try and get as many of them as I can to at least check out for that list. So I have at least a ton of movies available to me. So like a Spinal Tap, I have to still get to. High and Low is a big one I want to really check out. My Criterion Blu-ray list, Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club I already have pre-ordered, so I actually paid full price for it. Perfect Days and Eyes Wide Shut, 100%. It's another good movie. I haven't seen the Blu-ray, but I watched it on the Criterion channel, the streaming service. I do pay for that. Because I just feel like it has a good, just a good amount of movies on there, and movies that appeal to me. And, I kind of feel like I'm supporting a smaller company instead of supporting like, Warner Brothers. But anyway, I watched a movie called Day Trippers on there, which was released in 1996. Same director as Superbad. And if you ever wanted to see where I live That's the most Long Island movie you'll ever see. It's a day tripper because it's about people taking a day trip from Long Island to New York City, which a lot of Long Islanders do. Depending where you are on the island, you could be anywhere from like a half hour out to like 2 hours out of the city, but it's just Rhode Island. The city, New York City is right over there. They have to go to New York City for whatever reason. I won't spoil it for you. Stanley Tucci's in this movie, so's Liev Schreiber, which is pretty cool. He's got his Scream haircut in this movie. But yeah, it's a very Long Island movie, right down to the intimates, and it's a good one, but very much a 1990s indie film. So if you knew 1990s indie films, a lot of coffee and a lot of cigarettes and a lot of talking. Nothing wrong with that, but a good way to cover for your low budget. It's just, it gets more noticeable as time goes on. Eyes Wide Shut, yes, I'm grabbing. Eyes Wide Shut is that's the one I have to get in there and make sure I get, like, think of it like Black Friday going in the Walmart or Target. You stand outside with the crowd, but everyone knows where they're going. Are they going for the big screen TVs? I have to get in on that sale and just make sure I get Eyes Wide Shut. If I get nothing else and I just get Eyes Wide Shut, I'll consider it a success. If I don't get Eyes Wide Shut, the whole sale was a failure. I'm sure I can get my hands on Eyes Wide Shut anyway. At least I hope so. Eagle! Yeah, I love it. If I could save my prime shipping by dropping the streaming side, I would. That's the thing. That's how Amazon gets us. Like, I don't want to support a company that just laid off 14,000 people, but as we live, they kind of got you every single way because things are so pricey right now. They're the best way to save money. I mean, look at what they're doing with Arrow Video, to circle back to the physical media side of things that we're talking about here. Look at what they're doing with physical media. I mean, Arrow Video is selling it on their website, the mask on 4K Blu-ray, which isn't out yet. Some people already got their review copies or their free copies or whatever, and got it from Orbit DVD. I think they've already received theirs, but I pre-ordered it directly from Arrow Video for $50. I think it came out to after taxes. If you go on Amazon right now, it's $33 for the mask. I'm like, not even out yet, and I'm like, why would I hold on to my pre-order through this if I'm not even going to get it early? What am I paying the extra $20 for? It doesn't really make sense. So, Amazon, like, they kind of got people like that because it's like, I'd rather save the money, but then you're supporting a company like Amazon instead of supporting the small boutique label like Arrow Video. But then I don't know why Arrow Video, why would you release the copies to Amazon and Orbit to release, but not actually give the copies to the people who bought them directly from you? It doesn't make much sense. Like, you can release them to the distributors, but you don't actually ship them out to your customers who order directly from you. It's a little confusing, but that's kind of like Arrow Video's thing. I have 10 movies on my short list for the sale. 10 movies. I think I got that. So, I won't read your list all out. John, I saw that John Candy document. I like me. It broke me. Do you think they'll ever release it on physical media? If they do one day, I'll purchase it. I would love to get it too, Ben. And yeah, it broke me as well. That it got me numerous times, and I'll sit next to my wife, like trying to hold back, like fully breaking down, like I was just having tears run down my face. But like, it's rare you see a genuine good guy like John Candy in this world. Nightmare Alley, gotta grab that one, guys. That's a great 4K Blu-ray, best of the year in my opinion. Eyes Wide Shut and Flow. I gotta, Flow's on my list. Nightmare Alley, yeah, I would recommend Nightmare Alley on everyone's list if you could get it. If studios follow Lionsgate and Region Lock to purchase on 4K Blu-ray box sets, will create cease to exist. That's the whole thing. Creators like One Quick, yeah. So that's kind of the big story today. And things like this is kind of like what Insomniac is talking about, but more in line also with Dogma. But Reanimator is something that is getting a release from, I will talk about that in a second, Second Sight. Now, I'm forgetting the name of the studio. I know it starts with an I, but they are the ones who distributed Reanimator on 4K Blu-ray here in the United States. But they reached out to Second Sight and basically said, like, hey, we're releasing this on, we already have a release this on 4K Blu-ray. This has to be, kind of locked into your region. And that's the same thing that kind of happened with Dogma. So Dogma is coming out from Lionsgate Limited here in the United States, but there is a version that a lot of people have seen from Umbrella that on their site, you can convert it. And me and Frank went through this whole thing on Monday. He actually showed you on their website. I'm not going to do all that of like when you convert the currency. So if you keep it Australian, you'll be able to still pre-order this. But if you go to United States currency, this disappears. And that's because Lionsgate Limited is doing the United States 4K Blu-ray for this, which is going to be coming out with these of them right here, if you want to take a look. And you can see right there in the bottom, pre-orders start on 11/11. So if you go there on 11/11, you'll be able to pre-order this 4K Blu-ray, and it's going to probably be pretty difficult to pre-order if I had to imagine. So because of that, Lionsgate's like, hey, this is our US release. You're kind of, you're barking in on our land here, and if you keep doing that, we're gonna bite. And that's what they did. They basically said, you stick to your region, and we'll stick to ours. And if that starts to become the norm, it's basically the same thing as region locking a Blu-ray like you would back in the day, or today. If you order a 4K Blu-ray, a lot of the time the Blu-ray will be region locked depending on where you got the 4K. So for instance, It Follows has a second sight 4K Blu-ray release as well. The Blu-ray packed in, I mean, actually, I don't think that had a packed in Blu-ray, but if let's just say it did, it would usually be region B. The 4K always isn't region locked, but here's the thing. When you get these 4K Blu-rays, if they're locked and you can't, I mean, if these 4K Blu-rays are unavailable to us, if they're not going to ship to the United States, well, then we're kind of shit out of luck. And it's the same for the other countries. So if you're in region B and you want something like from, I don't know, from the Criterion Collection or something like that, or something that's region A, just for example, and it's stuck here, Shout Factory, let's say the Halloween movies, they're stuck here. You won't be able to get them shipped to you because, the studios are starting this, they start penny pinching. They don't want, share. They don't want us to have all the options. They want you to be backed into a corner and buy from the region that you live in because they have the rights to that movie. They kind of consider it as that company is stealing money from us. And the people who always lose in this instance are always us, the consumer, because instead of us now having the option to buy both versions, you unfortunately have to buy the one that's in your region when it comes to Dogma. Now, with Reanimator, I actually pre-ordered Reanimator's 4K Blu-ray, which you guys can see right here again. I didn't get this version. I got the cheaper version. I actually decided to buy it from the Atomic Movie Store. So I'm hoping that they're going to still honor that order. And I don't know what's going to end up happening if this company is going to be like, no, you can't sell it. And then I get screwed out of it. But I'm hoping that they honor that because, yeah, this is something that's getting very concerning. So anyway, I'll go back to the chat real quick. Grave of the Fireflies is a rough one. Watch some parts. It's anime. I actually own Grave of the Fireflies on Blu-ray. Yeah, I would say that's a real tough one. You're definitely gonna cry if you could watch Grave of the Fireflies. So if you get into that one, that's a rough. I haven't seen Shy's Chainsaw Man series, but I got to the movie. I think you'd like it, really. So I should check. My buddy really wants me to check it out too. I might have to just do it for you guys. Day Trippers is really good. Oh, you saw that, Jeff? Yeah. So if you ever, that's kind of they're in Dix Hills, exit 51 on the LIE. I used to work off of exit 49, but my ex-stepdad, he lived in Dix Hill. So it's funny. If you see the beginning of that movie, it's pretty much that's the closest I've ever seen Long Island because they actually filmed on Long Island. The best I've ever seen depicted in a movie. I have Criterion Blu-ray, Barry Lyndon. Should I get the 4K or the Steelbook from WB UK? So actually, Barry Lyndon is one of the 4K Blu-rays that actually got not just an upgrade in the visuals, but they gave it a nice brand new digibook packaging. So I actually used to have the Blu-ray, and now Jeff has that Blu-ray. But now the 4K Blu-ray, it's really going to come down to you. Like the Blu-ray is pretty good. I thought the 4K Blu-ray though was, you've seen the cinematography in Barry Lyndon. It's stunning. So if you watch the 4K Blu-ray, it's still stunning. It just looks even better. Things look like they came right out of a painting when you watch that movie. And incredible. One of Stanley Kubrick's best. So yeah, I would recommend that. And the 50% off sale, I would think it's a great time to grab it. The sale starts November 7th, right? I don't know if it's November 7th or November 1st. If it's November 7th, man, that would be perfect. I'm prepared for the 1st if I have to. I pre-ordered on Amazon for the masks as well. Sally, I knew it was the most affordable way to obtain the film. That's the thing too. That's like, don't feel bad about that. Like I'm considering. I emailed Arrow Video myself to find out like what's the deal there. Like what am I getting extra by pre-ordering through you guys? And I sent them the exact same picture of the Amazon thing. I'm like trying to do the right thing here. I'm like, but it's $20 cheaper. And what am I getting extra out of this? Like, it's one thing if you were to get it earlier, but you don't get it earlier. Like, I don't understand. Sometimes you do. I got Spawn earlier. Like, that was one thing. So it really depends, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I might just cancel and get the Amazon. Who knows? What's up, David? AKA Shamrock Balls. Ignite Films released it in the US. There you go. And Frank, I know, has a review out for that. Me and Frank went through this whole thing on his show on Monday, so make sure you guys go back and check that out. Frank probably broke it down way better than I did. Is Reanimator worth getting? If you've never seen, I actually have the Arrow Video Blu-ray. I love it. It's obviously just another retelling of Frankenstein, but I think it's a great movie. Directed, what's his name? Stanley Gordon directed it, who also did I'm drawing a blank. I know he did Dolls, but what From Beyond, like, which all came out around the same time. We're all filmed around the same time, same cast and crew and everything. But I still think I go back and forth between Reanimator and From Beyond. But I think Reanimator is probably the best of those films. Ignite paid to have the best video encoding job, so that's why I waited for the standard of Reanimator. Yeah, I was gonna get that one, but I just, like I said, I kind of got this version right here from not this version, the standard version from Second Sight. So I'll see if that version is good. But if the Ignite has the best encoding, you know what? Then that's still going to be the best version out there. But I still think all the options should be available to everybody. I mean, physical media is so niche as it is. I mean, even being a cinephile is so niche as it is. To like limit the options to the consumer is just always something that's going to bother me. And I don't like it when these companies do those kinds of things. And I get it, but it's just like the people you hurt the most are the people who are most loyal to you. Like, it's the movie fans, the physical media collectors, like, they're the ones who are shelling out the money. But when you charge over $40 for something and you give a very bare bones release, like, that's just ripping off people. And then to like force people, like, and now this, think of it as like the Silence of the Lambs. Imagine in the United States, you were forced to get the Kino Lorber 4K Blu-ray of the Silence of the Lambs, even though the Arrow Video UK release of that is much, much better on 4K. You wouldn't be able to get that because they wouldn't ship to your region because they want to force you to buy that. I think that's just absolutely ridiculous. Region lock selling doesn't surprise me. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me either. That's the thing. It's not a surprise. I guess they're tired of the same movie not selling worldwide. And yeah, like, that one company is going to like look at the other company, whichever one sells more. They're going to be like, well, if their version wasn't available here, they never would have sold it, and we would have sold X many amount. That's kind of, again, it hurts the consumer. Options is what we need. We're an entire planet now. Technology connects us all. You can talk to somebody on the other side of the planet. There's no reason to limit us getting these because we already know that we can get them. You're just doing that because you're, taking an invisible line in an invisible region and forcing people to buy them from here. Force them to pay more in shipping. Like, that was one thing. And if we're willing to do it, then who cares? But to be like, no, we're not shipping it there because this version is available to you. And for people who like, extras and special features and everything like that, to have things be region locked now for those kinds of things is also absolutely ridiculous. Customers should have the availability to unlock all of that. There should be no reason why they couldn't. It's just insane to me. I hope it doesn't become a thing, but it does look like it is becoming a thing. So we won't be able to buy Reanimator standard Second Sight, right? Well, not off their website, but I pre-ordered it yesterday off of the Atomic Movie Store, so I was able to it was still available to pre-order on there, and that's what I did. I pre-ordered that along with Minority Report. Catch Me If You Can was already sold out on the Atomic Movie Store. I waited too long. That's the other thing now. Things are selling out so fast, so I actually had to put a pre-order for that in on Amazon. I'll see if another smaller distributor has that out as well. I need to buy a region-free player from 220 Electronics ASAP. Yeah, actually, I don't have a region-free player. I just do the trick with the Panasonic. But I would love to get one day I want to get the region-free player that's also a 4K player, so I just have everything in one thing, just for the convenience of it all. It feels like they're taking away our right to import a product. People will start using reshippers. Yeah, exactly. And workarounds. You build a fence, and next day there's a taller ladder. It always happens. And that's the thing, too. It's like legalizing drugs or alcohol. It's like or guns. When you make them illegal, you're acting like there's going to be no way to get these things. No, you're just making it harder to control. You're just making it harder to like keep tabs on things. When you can control it, it's much safer. Now, people are still going to do these things regardless if it's legal or not. So it's the same, apply the same theory to like importing things. Just because you're saying that you won't allow us to buy it from these people, we're still going to find ways to get it. I mean, it's nothing new, like you said. It's something that shouldn't happen. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And again, it's just, you're hurting your consumers, and it just makes people less trustworthy of your companies. The companies are acting like we haven't been importing products since the 70s. Again, they're just very, very out of touch. So you should hear how these CEOs talk. And again, it's disgusting because like, look at all the companies that just laid off workers in the last like couple of days, like UPS, Amazon laid off 14,000 workers. And what happens? The stock prices go up. Like, that's a good thing. that 14,000 people are going to lose their jobs right around Christmas time. That's a celebration. It's just, that's the disgusting nature of a capitalist economy. And like all these companies feel like they're taking from each other. Like they'll fight with each other, but who are the people who lose? The people whose hard-earned money goes to these movies. It's insane. It's insane to me. The Ignite release is a 10. So that's a perfect release. The Ignite Reanimator. I mean, I figured, I'm sure the second site release will be good. If studios did this, eBay is going to explode with movies that are region locked. And that's the sad thing as well. Again, you're handing over money now to scalpers, making it harder for the consumer to get, making it harder for the people who want these movies to get. I'm praying every day I'm good enough at my job to not be replaced by a robot, which is, again, disgusting. And that's what Amazon is. That's why I don't want to support Amazon anymore. And because of things like that. Like when you put out in your press release that 14,000 jobs are going to be lost because AI can replace those jobs, that's a horrible sign for the entire world's economy, right? At least in my opinion, because you're putting people out of work. And now they're saying like eventually they'll replace all of the warehouse jobs. Of course, and then they'll have drones delivering all the packages, and we are so backed into a corner when it comes to money that that'll be our only option. It's easy if you could, and then we already have all of these companies controlling all of us as it is. You can just see the trickle down effect to all of us in our little physical media world where we're struggling. It used to never be this hard to like pre-order 4K Blu-rays where I'm basically watching sites like Guru for them to drop like the what are we 3 weeks later in on the Boogie Nights 4K Blu-ray. Like I have it pre-ordered through Amazon now, but I'm still checking Groove because I'd rather get it from there because it'll be cheaper. It'll come a little bit earlier, but as consumers, that's what we have to wait and do. And that really does suck. So I'm hoping that that's something that changes. I just don't foresee it just because these corporations are just greedy as hell. They'll always cut from the bottom and never cut from the top. And the CEOs and all the executives up at top will still make their money, and they'll never have to worry about food or anything like that. Now, I did hear that a big chunk of that 14K workers at Amazon's were part of Twitch. Yeah, like they're cutting like it's the same thing like with UPS. They're cutting like like whole factories and stuff like that to shrink their business. Like Paramount in our little world, you probably saw that Paramount Skydance is cutting 1,000 jobs today. That fits like kind of like because they're merging with Skydance. So of course, when that happens, like we talked about with Shout and Scream, like why they have layoffs, it's because like when companies merge together, you kind of got to trim a little bit of fat. It's something to be expected. We just got to stop all these companies merging so much. Like Paramount, it's hypocritical of Paramount to go out and talk about cutting 1,000 employees while putting in bids to purchase Warner Brothers. It's like you have enough money to spend billions of dollars on another corporation that when you guys merge, you're going to start cutting more people and laying off more people so you guys can merge and make more money. And you're all fine while cutting as many people as possible and like essentially trimming the fat. But your fat are human beings. So it's fucked up, just any which way you spin it. So who knows? Urban Game Studios that made an online MMO New World, so they're cutting everywhere. Yeah, it's just how it is right now. Every businesses aren't doing that well. Video game business, forget it. That's a dark world right now. The video game business. I just think we're still so niche. I think we're okay, but like it's still hurting us in a lot of ways. I think eventually we will have more people than work available. Maybe we're already there. We live in interesting times. Yeah, I don't want to get too bleak on this podcast, on this show right here, but yeah, it's scary to see so many people getting laid off and then being replaced by technology. It's something we saw coming. It's not unexpected. The thing is with technology is you can't stop it. Like once something's here, it's here. We can't go back. We have to just kind of adapt. And you hope that the people who have all the money and own these corporations do the right thing. But history has taught us that they will never do the right thing. I wish that people had a conscience and, think of the people. If our economy is fine, if you always have jobs available to people, then they can go purchase products. That's the ideal way to do it. But when you keep squeezing out of people the most you possibly can, eventually that tube just runs out. And to circle back to how physical media is, like, that's the thing. When you're spreading our money out, we talked about it last week. You used to be able to walk in the Best Buy with like $30, maybe walk out 2 to 3 Blu-rays, depending if they were on sale or not. But even new releases weren't that much. Now they spring it up as a collector's edition, charge you $45 for it, and that's just for one film, and they want you to do that for every movie now. Like, that's just asking a little bit too much, unfortunately. Technology is definitely a gift and a curse. It is. I think about this all the time. Like, I'm sure you guys think of it. I mean, like, I love my phone, but I also really hate my phone. Like, at least twice a day, I think about taking this phone and just chucking it into a river because I absolutely hate it so much. Because but then again, it makes so much things easier. It makes so much it makes us also so much information available to us. So it's always going to be a double-edged sword, technology. I personally can't imagine. I would hate a world where I didn't have OLED TVs like I do. I mean, but we didn't know better in the 90s, and CRTs were just fine, but and VHS was fine. But man, if I could just take these TVs and these movies on 4K Blu-ray and go back to the 90s, I think that's the ideal way of living. But who knows? Eat the rich. I mean, listen, there's a line. I don't think we need billionaires, but that's my opinion. Oh yeah, video games are getting more expensive due to console prices going up, and some games are getting close to $80. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Then also the console prices. I'm sure people who remember video game consoles generation cycles went like this. Consoles came out. They were expensive. They were always hard to get. I remember the PlayStation 2. I remember my mom coming up to me in 2000 and saying, like, listen, we'll get the Dreamcast this year. I can't get a PlayStation 2. And we ended up getting the PlayStation 2 the next year with Grand Theft Auto 3 for Christmas. So it's always been a thing there. But in a console's life cycle, it comes out. It is what it is for about 2 years. Then it starts to drop in price. You start to get the Christmas bundles. Then eventually a mid-generation update comes out. That's usually pretty cheap and affordable as well. The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X cost more money today than they did when they came out in 2020. And that should never, ever happen. It's never happened before. It's unprecedented, where products cost more money now than they did 5 years ago to get the exact same experience. It's insanity that that's happening. And video games were, they were almost pricing people out. And I feel like you're almost forced to pick your chosen art form or like your chosen hobbies. Like, you can't have both. I grew up with video games and movies. There was a point in my life as a kid where I liked video games more than movies. As I got older, movies are just a little bit more convenient, and with time and having jobs, like, I can't invest as much time in the video games as I would like to, because I like to have the story. I like prefer like long form gaming, and life like just doesn't work that way. But movies, I can always put a movie on every single day, so I can invest my time into that art form. But it's almost like if you wanted to be both a video game fan and a movie fan, especially a physical media collector of both, like, you can't afford that just in a regular world right now. It's too expensive. And it's the same thing when it comes to physical media in general. Like, now you're splitting that atom even more with the prices of these things. They can only squeeze me so much. I'm not going to keep buying the same quantity of things when the prices continue to go up. I'm going to choose what not to buy. And that's unfortunately the thing as well. You're going to have to pick and choose. Like, okay, here's a good example. The big news story this week, yesterday, Ben-Hur coming to 4K Steelbook and All the President's Men. I don't know exactly when these 4K Blu-rays are coming out. You can actually pre-order them on Groove right now, I believe, already. I'm going to guess they're going to be coming out in December. December's Christmas. I already got a bunch of movies that I'm pre-ordering for December on 4K Blu-ray that I'll review for them. But I am definitely not going to be able to get both Ben-Hur and All the President's Men if they come out in the same month of December. Now, that's just me being hypothetical. If it's January, a little bit more affordable. But like, I think on Groove now, I don't know if it happens for you guys, but they usually do check out through Shop Pay, so you have to pay for it right now. And I don't necessarily have the money available to pre-order this and pay for this right now. So if I had to pick and choose, I'm going to probably pick All the President's Men. Even though Ben-Hur is the Best Picture winner, it's a fantastic film. I really enjoy it, but you put a gun to my head, I'm going to go with the movie I like more, because I can't afford to get all of these movies anymore. And I wish I could. It's just too expensive. And it's too much. And I get that for a lot of people, it's too much. John, I have the OLED TVs are not profitable, and they might shift production to smaller screen. Wow, really? Apple with higher margin. Plasma was superior tech too and couldn't survive. I mean, that's something that even happened with planes. What was that one plane that was around for a long time? Had one big plane crash though. It starts with a C. I always forget it, and it's in it's a big deal in the movie. Wow, I can't remember it, but what the name of the plane was. But anyway, this was like a very fast plane, able to break the sound of speed. is, considered upper class. It was expensive for the tickets. It was hard to maintain, but that technology was advanced. And that's the thing. Like, are OLEDs, are they profitable? Like, that's always what it's going to come down to, unfortunately. And everything is the business model. Are they going to make money on it? It's even with movies. They got to make money. Like, I would love for a world where, people didn't. Like, you need people to invest in the art. So it's just the different thing. Greed, I know, means more 4K steelbooks will be packaging only, might drive some 4Ks on digital format to save money, which defeats the purpose of collecting physical media, owning the movie. Yeah, and you lose a lot when you don't actually watch it on disc compared to digital as well, because of compression. I mean, I haven't done my Edward Scissorhands 4K Blu-ray review yet. That'll be out on Saturday, but I watched it yesterday and it looks stunning. The sound is pretty good. Could have had some more bass and that Dolby Atmos track, but there is not a single new extra. And the Blu-ray that's packed in there is the same Blu-ray that was previously released. So you're going to get a new Steelbook, which you're forced to get because you can't get the standard edition here in the United States. And you're just getting an upgrade to the visuals and audio. And the audio, the upgrade's not as great as you would hope it was for something that costs over $40 for that 4K Steelbook. So now you're just paying that much money for just a visual upgrade. Again, you got to justify these kinds of things. Like Disney's they're just taking for us. They're holding movies we love hostage and forcing us to buy them at a premium price. I don't know. I just don't feel good about that. I can't give that 4K Blu-ray a 10 out of 10, even if the visuals are a 10 out of 10, because you're charging $40-something for that. And that's all you're getting. I just feel like you need a print, Nightmare Alley on 4K Blu-ray is a 4-disc set for that same exact price. Doesn't really make sense. You get a lot more for your money. Sometimes technology can be amazing, but it comes at the wrong time. And people aren't ready to recognize or appreciate it. That is also very, very true. I mean, people would say Laserdisc was ahead of its time, but people at that time really weren't appreciating VHS. Game Boy, I mean, is a good example. There were better handhelds back in the day than Game Boy, but Game Boy was affordable, and the batteries lasted longer. It didn't last great, but it lasted more than whatever the hell Sega had. Sega had a color screen, but the Game Boy was affordable. And that's always what it's going to come down to, is affordability, profit margins, all this stuff is a system. Here's a system. Everybody's a suspect. The Steelbook of Clue is a perfect example of studio greed. Smaller capacity disc, worse transfer, unless special features for more money. Yeah, I absolutely hate that. That's the thing that drives me absolutely crazy, is that it's a worse version of Clue that has a better Shout Factory 4K Blu-ray release, but they'll get people with the packaging. Drives me crazy. The Concorde. That's the plane I was thinking of. The Concorde. Remember that thing? It was too expensive. And the tires were hard to make. Had a blowout. I would say Blu-ray is good enough, but I'm still getting close to 500 4Ks to stand by that statement. Yeah, it really comes down to how do you feel on things. I'm starting to get a little bit more picky because the Panasonic 4K player does such a good job upscaling. When I watch the Edward Scissorhands Blu-ray, it's not a bad Blu-ray. Yeah, the 4K looks amazing. Like I said, it's 10 out of 10 visuals, but the Blu-ray looks great too, and the audio is not bad. So it's should I have upgraded to the 4K Blu-ray? These are the questions we have to ask ourselves now. I buy more and more 4Ks from overseas because I want slipcovers releases and not be forced to buy US Steelbooks. If they stay region locking, that'll piss me off. I agree. I said it with my Rocky Horror Picture Show 4K Blu-ray. I got the UK slipcover, and you know what? Those slipcovers are nice. That's what makes it even more frustrating. It's not like they're cheap-ass slipcovers like Warner Brothers does. They're nice slipcovers, and we cannot get those in the United States. We're forced to get the 4K Steelbooks. That's crazy. You actually do a good job of your slipcovers, and you want to just charge us the extra money? It's ridiculous. It's not even right. If you gave us Edward Scissorhands is a perfect $22 4K standard edition Blu-ray. 4K Blu-ray. It's perfect as a standard edition with the slipcover. If you charge that much money, that is fine for what you upgraded. But to charge what you charge for a Blu-ray to 4K Blu-ray upgrade with Steelbook, it's insane to me. I've got Ben-Hur already, and I've always wanted to have a 4K of All the President's Men, so I'm putting in my pre-order. That's we're on the same page as that. Mark's movie menu. Yeah, movie guy 3 in a recent video complained how suboptimal audio is even for Dolby Atmos movies on disc recently. Yeah, I don't know what happened. For the bass heads out there, people complained about Master and Commander. I personally thought that the Edward Scissorhands Dolby Atmos track was really lacking a lot of bass, and I start off at +4 on the bass, and I don't know. The subwoofer was I was a little disappointed. I'm gonna be honest. It felt way too front heavy for me. The Weapons 4K Steelbook on pre-order right now, $39 on Amazon. Amazon and Warner Brothers must be smoking something, and it's crazy. It's honestly insane. Tony Lowe, oh, thanks, buddy, for the $5. I really appreciate it. Hey, buddy. Hey, bud. Did you know Carol Ann actually says they're all here? If you can see her mouth, the whole thing obviously has nothing to do with the stream. LOL. Hey, buddy, you donated $5. I appreciate that so much, man. It means a lot to me. Thank you. And I actually never knew that. So she says they're all here, not they're here. Seems like one of those classic, what do they call those things? Mandela effects. My Amazon order of Nightmare on Elm Street Steelbook collection, still in stock, order received and no delivery date. You think all is gone and no more will be released? I think they'll still have more released. I think because they'll have to at least replace copies that were broken, so they should have those set aside. I'm sure they'll still make a few more, like, because at least to fulfill people who have pre-orders that they accepted. If they don't do that, then they're in the wrong, Amazon, and they should at least give you something for it, because in my opinion, that would be just absolutely ridiculous. At Patrick Williams, yeah, I can't go for that. Weapons is eventually 15. Yeah, the 4K of Weapons, like, that's a classic, and I said it in my release, standard release as well. That'll always be included in sales because it's a Warner Brothers release. The standard edition will probably eventually, like I got Uncle Buck recently, didn't have the slip cover on it. You'll probably see Weapons without the slip cover floating around in sales all the time because it's a studio Warner Brothers release of a modern film. Always will end up in those 2 for $24 sales. It's destined for that. That's just where its fate lies. I just try my best to buy new to the collection movies rather than the same movies over and over. It's hard sometimes. Yeah, see, I justify it sometimes to myself as like, well, at least I'll be reviewing it for the channel. So like my wife like gets upset. And Edward Scissorhands is definitely one where I got burned more than I didn't. Sometimes it's like Nightmare Alley, even though it was a 4K to 4K upgrade, I felt like you got so much more included in the Criterion collection compared to the previous 4K Blu-ray release, even though the color version that's been released on 4K Blu-ray might be the superior color version. It really is going to come down to the viewer because it's still a fantastic transfer. I just feel like they gave you so much more to justify picking it up, even though it's the same movie. So sometimes, you justify it to yourself. I'm also trying to get better at that. Like if I have a version and then like they upgrade it, like if I have something that's in the Columbia Classics collection, like I did upgrade for, obviously because I let you, Jeff, have my A League of Their Own, their original version that was just HDR10. I got the Dolby Vision version, but like Stripes, I'm never gonna upgrade that. It's fine as it is. Same thing with Stand By Me. Like that got a new Dolby Vision upgrade. I already have the HDR10 version. I watched it. It's beautiful. Didn't see any reason to get it back. Amazon is back on Spin the Wheel, or as when deliveries are released 4K Steelbooks coming. I hate these games. I hate it too. Like, you have to always be up in the air with Amazon. Are they going to actually do the right thing and send? Like they'll tell you that it's delayed on the day it's supposed to be delivered. Oh, supply chain issue. Whoopsie. It's ridiculous. Like you didn't know? I will cancel that ASAP. Ooh, no problem. Just a change in post-production, which is where Poltergeist becomes more a Spielberg film. Yeah, and I've always felt like it's a Spielberg film too, even though I always kind of have been in the area of like it's 50-50. I feel like Spielberg was on set, but Tobe Hooper still had input on the movie. It's one of my top 3 favorite horror films of all time, Poltergeist. So any new Poltergeist info is always appreciated. I played the movie The 13th Warrior on DVD. On my pants, it looked like Blu-ray quality. Players, amazing. And yes, and that's the thing when I've watched DVDs. So in the collection of DVDs you can see behind me, Harold and Kumar, Escape from Guantanamo Bay. I don't have it on Blu-ray, but the DVD, he gave it to me. I watched it. Looked just like the Blu-ray. Looked fine because of the Panasonic player, which is just always incredible. The Concorde was making flight controllers nervous. Too fast. It was a quick plane trips. It's just crazy that we advanced so far in technology. We had to be like, we got to pull it back a little bit. And also, not only this, we might kill people, but, because that was the thing. The tire have a blowout, and that was like their one big plane crash. But, it's just a shame because I always thought that was I was somebody who was always kind of in the planes, even though I'm petrified of flying on them. It's probably why I'm interested in them. That's why I'm into plane crash documentaries as well. It's like I'm facing my biggest fear. Edward Scissorhand 4K steelbook just arrived during the stream. See, I brought it into existence. I'll be interested in Frank to know like what you think. Maybe we'll talk about that on Monday because I think that it's missing a lot, but I also think it's beautiful. Like Winona Ryder, like that scene with the ice pouring down on her, like the black on an OLED screen. You know, that's what we get in the 4K game for, isn't it? It's for things like that. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. You know what? While we're chatting, why don't we share this screen here? We'll spin the magic wheel. We'll do our digital code giveaway, so we can do that as well while I keep talking and rambling on. Where? All right, so we'll shuffle this up. Spin the wheel. I'm going to see if I can actually turn this down. I guess you guys can listen. Oh, going down the chat. I'm still waiting for the Tron Legacy. You still haven't gotten your Tron Legacy 4K still? It's supposed to be this Friday. Okay. It was released on September 16th. Yeah, that's ridiculous. You have to wait this long for that. It shouldn't be that way. And it's up in the air. Like, they don't really even give you estimates or updates. Like, they'll give you an estimate, but then it'll just randomly ship one day. Jack the Ripper 7727. Congratulations, buddy. Not too sure if you've ever won before, but we're going to remove you for the second spin. Continuing on, the sound and the surround sound of Master Commander DV is far superior than the 4K. So a lot of people had issues in that. I guess it's like what we're talking about. I still think that Master Commander is Dolby Atmos track, or actually, yeah, it's better than the Edward Scissorhand Dolby Atmos track, in my opinion. I mean, if you're talking bass, I know people had issues with that bass, and this I thought was way worse. And Vince the Movie Man, congratulations, buddy. Both of you guys reach out to me at letstalkentmt@gmail.com, or you can always reach out to me at Instagram, Facebook, the artist formerly known as Twitter. I check those. I just don't check those as frequently as the email. And you will have your choice of the following digital codes, which I'll put right here. And you can also include Dirty Harry on these digital codes as well. So like Dirty Harry is somebody donated that to me yesterday. Thank you very much. The digital code for that. I assume the new 4K scan. So, you know, if you're one of the lucky winners here today, you can get your choice of that as well. We do this every single week. And also, I'm just going to do a little quick promotion for my channel members because, you know, they support the channel financially. These are going to be for next week on this show. Next Wednesday, we'll do our channel members giveaway. So you're a channel member from the producers of hire, like John Doe Jeff Juggalo, for example. You'll be included in that giveaway, and you'll be able to get Night of the Comet. Like, you'll have your choices of these 4Ks. Nightmare Alley's Disney Buena Vista 4K, which I said, great 4K. Faith likes that one more. The Shape of Water Disney Buena Vista 4K. The Ring on Blu-ray, it's just a nice steelbook. And it's spooky season. Wouldn't you want that? Rope on 4K. I always recommend Rope if that's an Alfred Hitchcock film you've never seen. Personal favorite of mine. Color Out of Space on 4K. 2012 on 4K. Great 4K, just really shitty film. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure on 4K. Batman, the Lego movie Batman, which is pretty good. Good 4K. Pulp Fiction on 4K, still sealed, by the way. What Lies Beneath on 4K. And Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K. So channel members from producers and higher will have a choice of that. I'm Pro Toby. Plus, he has his camera work. Watch 81 films in the Funhouse, which looks so much like Poltergeist in many ways. Funhouse. Yes, that is a great movie. Yeah, I've never been one of those people that goes, Toby Hooper did nothing. He's just a name for the film. Never felt that way for me about Poltergeist, in my opinion. I always felt like it was a joint production between Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg, it's his story. He came up with the idea. He cast the film. You know, he produced it. He wanted to actually direct it. It was just something with the union rights and only being able to direct one film at a time. And he couldn't direct E.T. and Poltergeist. So it was a big thing. You know, of course, I'm sure money was involved. So people have always assumed that he shadow directed Poltergeist, or he was just there and Toby Hooper was just like on set. And people have said that Spielberg directed me in this scene. Toby Hooper directed me in that scene. My opinion, just a joint production between the two of them. Both of them have never really said anything bad about the other. Obviously, they would get in some trouble if one of them said one thing about the other as well. So they're kind of backed into a corner. So we'll never really probably know the full truth. But I always just work on the assumption that you can see things from both directors in there. Me personally, it's Poltergeist is not only one of my favorite horror movies. Like if that was technically directed by Steven Spielberg, that would be my favorite Steven Spielberg film. That is a true cousin to E.T., which is my favorite Steven Spielberg film. Like you just captured that energy in a bottle twice, and I just think it works better as a horror film, and that's why I love Poltergeist so much. But there's nothing wrong with E.T. either. Those are both 5-star, 10 out of 10 films. I guess I just as much as I love John Williams, I don't know the score. Speaking of planes, has there been a good movie about DB Cooper? I don't think there ever it has been, but there is a great, if you want to rewatch a really bad reenactment of it, a great Unsolved Mysteries version of DB Cooper that I love. And also it was a character featured in Prison Break. Fincher could pull it off. He also did Zodiac. Fincher can pull off anything. People still can't move past the fact that he made a movie about Facebook that they're making a sequel for that he's not involved in. Drives me nuts. Taking the elevator, going up. Yeah, unfortunately, can't really play that. Although we haven't gotten in trouble in a while when it comes to that. I'm dizzy. Sorry about that. The wheel will do that to you sometimes. Yo, Vince. Yeah, Vince, the movie man. Actually, it was Toby's idea, which he turned down the evil alien movie called Night Skies. Really? Because it always says story by in the credits. It says story by Steven Spielberg. I thought it was something that he originally wrote. Speaking of actually Toby Hooper, we kind of they hinted that Arrow Video is going to be doing their announcements for January 26th this Friday. We should get Toby Hooper's Salem's Lot announced in there, which I still think is the most superior version of Salem's Lot, and he did a great job on it, and it's very underappreciated. I mean, Toby Hooper, I think he's very underappreciated as a director in general. I mean, maybe now he's getting his flowers a little bit more. Like a lot of people will say that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the greatest horror film of all time, like Rolling Stone, I think, said. So, Toby Hooper, that's definitely a Toby Hooper film. So I think he's finally getting the flowers he deserves. Even if you go whatever way you want to go with on Poltergeist, it's still got his name on it, and it's still a great movie. Wow. Vinegar Syndrome is releasing John Carpenter porn films. The Fireworks Woman. Oh my God. I mean, it fits the Vinegar Syndrome line. Some directors got to start out doing some porn. It is what it is. I never saw any of his porn films, if I'm being honest. The sound from Master and Commander with the slip fight sounded so muted on the 4K compared to the DVD, which is really sad. That's absolutely awful. I never had the DVD to compare it to, and it's a shame because I actually thought that the water effects, the way that was moving around the room, I thought it was very impressive. I just have heard from other people who were really disappointed with Master and Commander, and that's really shitty. But yeah, isn't it crazy that Dolby Atmos tracks, like, it's been 2 years now since Evil Dead Rise came to 4K Blu-ray, and I feel like that's still the greatest Dolby Atmos track we've ever had. And even some of the remixed Dolby Atmos tracks, like, they just don't have the right punch to them. I thought the ones for the Nightmare on Elm Street collection were really good, but overall, it's just been it's been disappointing is the best way I could describe a lot of these Dolby Atmos tracks. And I just wish it wasn't that way. Like, Dolby Atmos tracks are supposed to be the pinnacle of like these audio tracks. I mean, even like Jurassic Park, I thought they did a good job, but some people felt like the old DTS-X tracks were better. And that's another one where you have to justify to yourself, do I upgrade the 4K Blu-rays from the previous 4K Blu-rays for Jurassic Park? It seems to be happening more and more. David says the Carpenter porn films have a great mood and atmosphere. I have no doubt his Mission Rate is the best porn film ever made. LOL. I'm sure it is. I'm sure his Minions rate, and I'm sure they do. Are you John Carpenter? It's like, is he filming like he films Halloween? Does he do the score? If he does the score, I at least want to hear the score because, hey, why not? He's a great composer as well. I would just love to hear it. I'm just not somebody who watches porn for the, for the work. That's why I always kind of was a little like, speaking of Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubin, got arrested in the 90s for jerking off in a porn theater. And I would have arrested everybody else who was there not jerking off, because what else are you doing in the theater? Did you go to the theater to watch the movie? Like, why? I guess it was just different times. I don't know. I raise a lot of questions about the arrest. Does Lionsgate still have the rights for Evil Dead 1 and 2? I'm kind of waiting for Lionsgate Limited to really put on something juicy like Rambo Collection. I don't know what's going on with that, actually. I would hope so. I honestly have no idea what's going on. Like, they did the Rambos on 4K Blu-ray, which I said previously do need upgrades. So I think First Blood, and at least give First Blood a new 4K Blu-ray upgrade. I think I'm with you on that. Evil aliens come to Earth to terrorize a family, except one alien, Chloe's young son. So, Instead of Aliens, Toby went to do a ghost movie, so they were split into Poltergeist and E.T. Gotcha. Okay. Appreciate that, Tony. Carpenter did a porn film. Frank, a lot of people who start, do porn with women, eventually, they start out in gay porn, then they go on and do straight porn. You got to get your foot in the door somewhere. So for filmmakers, a lot of them, Sylvester Stallone, I believe, did porn as an actor. I haven't done porn. I can confirm that. You're not going to find that of me out there. The score went from 70s style to Sith. Well, explains the mustache. John Bernthal for Bruce Willis biopic. That's a great choice for Bruce Willis biopic, in my opinion. Who you cast for live act Hunchback of Notre Dame? I got a pretty bad Hunchback myself, actually. I'd probably cast myself. You might not even notice it, but I'm not very tall. I'm like 5'6". I kind of look like a leprechaun. I've heard in the past, which also makes a lot of sense. But I could probably pass for a good Hunchback as well. You never know. Give Tom Hulce a chance again. I love Tom Hulce. Very underappreciated actor, in my opinion. Oh, yeah. Cal Naughton did porn. He did, right? What was his name? Mike Honcho? I did porn as Mike Honcho. I spread my cheeks as Mike Honcho. That's what he says in Talladega Nights. Absolutely ridiculous. That's different times. Is there any news that I didn't catch up on? Like, we did kind of gloss over a little bit on Ben-Hur and All the President's Men. Like, All the President's Men is a movie I absolutely, I think it's one of the great 70s movies. The only thing that hurts this movie is that it came out so fast after Watergate. I think, there was a lot more like with him, with Richard Nixon in general that, could have been explored more, but still Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford are just phenomenal. And yesterday I watched Jeremiah Johnson. That movie's just fantastic. If you've never seen Jeremiah Johnson, Toby and Spielberg worked together on story like Victor and Grace, did a screenplay, and Spielberg, Toby, Kathleen Kennedy, and Frank Marshall, I love Frank Marshall, did together and hashed it out, but only Spielberg got writing credit. That's, especially back then, they were very finicky, like with the credits you can get. The unions would always step in and kind of like mess around with this. That's why like the Coen brothers always wrote and directed their movies, but they would alternate like who would get the credit for the writer and who would get credit for the director, because the unions, like, the Writers Guild, Directors Guild, they didn't want to step on each other's toes and always caused a problem. So I look like a leper. I mean, let's just be honest here, Frank. I'm not going to pretend like I have a big bushy red beard. My skin is milky white. I'm not a very tall man. I'm hunched a little bit. It's leprechaun stuff, man. It's what happens. Yes, buddy, you did. I just saw I want a code. Yeah, buddy. So make sure you reach out to me at, letstalkentmt@gmail.com. Let me go back. I don't know if you saw this since you're in here now. Those are the codes that are available 110%. I do have them. And then I also Dirty Harry. So if you wanted to see the new scan of Dirty Harry on 4K Blu-ray, that's how you can do it. Get together. Let's see. Yes. What's this say? Stacy said, yes, Bruce Willis, but then you can see Health and Feelings could be amazing. Show his ups and downs, and the 90s for Bruce Willis would be very interesting to see in a good biopic about him. John Bernthal was great. It was free pizza. I love Keanu. I don't know if I can pull a Keanu accent. We kicked John out of Ireland. Yeah, LOL. They were like, you're too much of a stereotype here. You're giving Ireland a bad name. You got to get out of here. I always say, though, I'm a leprechaun without a pot of gold at the end of his rainbow, unfortunately. I don't have that kind of luck. I don't have the luck of the Irish. I have the bad luck of the Irish. On the dark side Irish. But I do believe in calling a spade. In this case, I guess you got to call a leprechaun, right? People have tried to, like, if you do it in a funny way, I'm fine with that. But if you're trying to be an asshole, I'm going to call you an asshole. It's the way she goes sometimes. We kept the gold, you fuck. I knew it. Somebody took my pot of gold. There's no reason why I got to be stuck like this. For nothing to show for it. Spielberg was actually sued by two writers who said that they had a similar script to Spielberg's Ambient Entertainment. Spielberg settled out of court. They always settle out of court. Even if, like, the only thing is like sometimes they'll just settle out of court just to keep people's mouths shut. You got an adorable wife, so you're winning, bro. I appreciate that. My wife was actually going to be on the live show today, and then she backed out. I'll get her on one of the days. It's so easy. She can just do it right from her phone. Is Raging Bull a sports movie? I saw it at the top of the list recently. Raging Bull is it's a boxing movie. It's about Jake LaMotta, who was a real life boxer, and it has some of the best film boxing scenes ever. Me and David actually talked about this on one of our Rocky podcasts. That Raging Bull, it's much more of a drama. It's much more about Jake LaMotta's life. The boxing scenes, it's more about the filmmaking of those boxing scenes. Like, the way that Martin Scorsese's camera work is something that's impressive with that movie. I feel like you watch that movie more as a cinephile, but it's not as entertaining as like a great sports movie like Field of Dreams or Rocky or any like those ones you would consider. I feel like that's more of like just a great Martin Scorsese film. You watch it for the great Robert De Niro performance, for the incredible camera work that they do. The cinematography is second to none. It's just that it's a very hard rewatch. I don't know. I'm sure that in the Criterion Collection, they probably list that under sports movies. By all technical terms, yeah, it's a sports movie because this has some great boxing scenes, but I wouldn't consider it in the same vein as Rocky. Personal opinion, at least. I don't consider a sports movie. Yeah, so you're on my side. That's at least we agree on that, right? Speed 3 would be great. I'm sure I've told you guys 100 times on the channel if you've been watching. I watched Speed 2 way more than most people did. My mother had a really bad habit of buying the really bad sequel to a lot of movies, or at least buying the sequel to movies, and we just never seemed to have the original in the house. We didn't have Ace Ventura on VHS for a long time, but we had When Nature Calls. It was the same thing with Speed. I asked my mom for Titanic on VHS because I liked the iceberg scene. I thought it was awesome. We rented it from Blockbuster all the time. I would usually just start with the second VHS a lot because I didn't really give a shit about the romance stuff at the time in 1998. But I loved the iceberg and like everything they were doing with the boat. My mom took that as I like boats and got me Speed 2 on VHS, Speed 2 Cruise Control, which is a horrible movie. But every time I watch it, the nostalgia overpowers me. It overwhelms me, like Willem Dafoe getting overwhelmed by those leeches. So I watched Speed 2 Cruise Control way more than any human being ever should have. That's not a good movie, but I liked it. So Speed 3 would be cool. I'm surprised they haven't done that yet. Speed 3, Speed Kills. It's only a matter of time, right? It's got to happen. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, you got Sandra Bullock floating around still. You can even just still bring in Jason Patrick, and you can still bring back Keanu Reeves. I'm sure Keanu Reeves at this point in his life wouldn't mind doing it. I know he didn't want to do it back then, but I mean, he came back and did a really shitty Matrix sequel. So who's to say? And I still haven't seen that movie that he did. I'm sure Mr. Smelly Potato saw it, that he did with Seth Rogen that just came out. I don't know how it's like got no promotion. Just feels like we talked about at the beginning of the show, like a lot of movies just do not do well and don't get the marketing they deserve. But hey, it is what it is. But these shows always fly by, and I really love that everybody shows up for them. Thank you guys all so much. Really kind of impresses me. Thank you guys. Thank you all for being here on another episode of Let's Talk Physical Media. Pretty slow news week. Arrow Video is going to probably bring out their stuff this Friday, so we'll have plenty to talk about on next Wednesday's show. Be here every Wednesday at 6:45 p.m. No video tomorrow here on the channel. Friday, though, there's a 3-hour podcast from the Let's Talk Movies podcast with David and I coming out, aka Shamrock Balls, about the film Halloween. So we hope you enjoy that. Saturday will be Edward Scissorhands on 4K. Next week, I don't know, probably starting on Sunday or Monday, you'll have my History of Violence 4K Blu-ray review, so you guys can check that out before you decide to buy that in the Barnes & Noble 50% off sale. At some point, Eddington and the X Trilogy on 4K Blu-ray reviews, those will be coming out as well. The Breakfast Club, all those will be coming out pretty soon. I don't know what the hell's going on in my Hard Boiled, so we'll wait and see. But all those will be coming out next week, and then, of course, next Wednesday we'll be back here at 6:45 to do it all over again. So, all right, guys, I hope you guys have a great night. See you guys all around, and enjoy your nights, everyone. Get home safe, get to bed safe, whatever it is. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you, Stacy. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mr. Smelly Potato. Jeff John Doe Juggalo, Tony the Load Rider Smith. Thank you so much for the $5, man. I appreciate it. Everybody enjoy your nights. Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews, the legend that he is. And see you guys around.